Hi everyone, welcome back to River and Rune. Thank you guys for joining the channel once again. My name is Gabriel and it's been some time since I've been back on the channel. I've been traveling since the new year. I've taken some time to be in Hawaii and also to take some time to visit some friends in California and also to write myself energetically. And now it seems very appropriate to return to the runes given that we are in the new year and also we are in the eve of Imbolc. So Imbolc is tomorrow. And I'll be posting this video tomorrow, so by the time that you guys see this video, it will be Imbolc. Imbolc is a beautiful festival, a festival in my opinion of fire, and that element of joyous celebration that we need, especially in the heart of winter. So Imbolc is also very sacred to the goddess Bridget, and Bridget is the goddess of Ireland. She's associated with the fire, the forge, the waters of the well, of healing, of smithing, and poetry. She has a very creative element to her. She is the creativity, the fire in the mind, the fire in the heart, and the fire that burns in the hands. So anything that comes from the creative centers, whether it's our visions, our feelings or emotions, or the things that we create with our hands, whether it's by the pen or by the hammer. So Bridget's day is tomorrow, Imbolc, so please enjoy it. Open yourself up, do any ritual that you feel called to do or any prayers that you may be called to do in which you welcome in this fire, you welcome in this day in which in Ireland you would welcome in Bridget to bring you blessings for the home throughout the year, to keep sickness away from your home, to keep the fires of your hearth ever burning, and to make sure that no harm comes to your family. So it's an excellent day tomorrow and a wonderful day for me to return to doing my rune readings with you guys and to do it once again on a weekly schedule. So let's get straight to the runes. Today I'm also doing something a little bit different. I had this feeling to bring my personal decks, the Fountain Tarot, which I very much enjoy, and also my Shamanic Healing Oracle deck, which I also enjoy. I'll be using them to supplement what we get from the runes today. So we'll just jump straight in. As you guys know, also I like to discuss the Celtic months of the year. So we are currently in the year of, in the month of Rowan. And Rowan is a very special tree because Rowan is actually related to the rose and related to hawthorn, pears, apples. So there's a lot to do. There's a lot to do in terms of the Rowan as a tree of the heart, as a tree of the heart space, which is why I'm wearing my rose quartz today. Rowan also is known in the ancient traditions of the Celtic lands as the whispering tree. They say that the Rowan has the ability to to whisper secrets to you if you should be so inclined to listen. So the idea, especially of this month, which is going from January 21st until first week of February, things will be changing. So it's just at the tail end of the month of Rowan. It's all about tapping into our inner secrets, the secrets of the heart, especially the secrets that we can find in the darker parts of our soul. Given that we are in the darkest part and the coldest part of winter, but also because we have passed the winter solstice, the sun is already progressing and returning and the longer days are coming, which is why Imbolc was also such an important festival, because it was a halfway point between the winter solstice and the equinox, the spring equinox. So very fun things. Let's get to it. See what the runes have to say for this upcoming week. Very interesting. Very interesting. So while I was casting and while I was accessing that energy, I felt and I also saw the image of a peony, which is a beautiful flower. And sadly, I don't know too much about the symbology of the peony, but from what I'm getting in terms of intuition and in terms of my gut feeling, the peony has a lot to do with gentleness, graciousness, and also with things from the past. So perhaps we may be experiencing this week coming, or you have already been experiencing feelings of things coming back from the past. It's almost as if we're coming up to situations that we have had this past year, this past few months, that we are now having an opportunity to do again in a different way, which will showcase how much we have learned about ourselves since the time that it first happened up until the time that it's happening again. So it does feel a lot about temporal progression and this connection with healing and the time it takes to heal. So as you guys know, we start in the center and moving around the wheel of time. So the first one that we come to is Tirwas, which is a beautiful rune. I love to see this rune in a reading, simply because when it's upright, it represents joy, it represents triumph, and it represents success. So this week, beginning from now until I'd say Friday, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, this weekend I would say, there's this energy of triumph, this energy of you're meeting a lot of people, you're connecting to different people, or perhaps there's this energy of, okay, I've heard the guidance of my ancestors, I've heard the guidance of my heart, and I've taken that to heart, literally. I've taken the time to heal, I've taken the time to look over my emotions, what I've been feeling, and now that I'm experiencing certain things again, with this slight shift, this slight nuance that makes the situation just a little bit different. And what makes it different is me. Because I've come to a place where I am more prepared, where I am healed, where I am more cognizant of my mental processes, of my emotional behaviors. I'm more cognizant of myself. And so that draws you to this space of victory, where you may be in situations at work, or you may be in situations, especially over the weekend, where you meet people from your past, or you'll run into someone from your past, or you'll run into an emotion from your past that you haven't felt in a long time. And now, with this Tirwas, there is that victory. You have succeeded, you've triumphed, you've gotten to a space where you can accept that this is what had happened, I have grown from it, and now I will move forward. Which is great because later on we have Thurisas. So this week is going to be very cathartic for a lot of us, especially in terms of working through past relationships, working through past behaviors, working through past listening as we are in the final weeks of Rowan, listening to those whispers from the past, whispers that are telling us secrets about ourselves. So perhaps we may have been having dreams recently, or any of you maybe having dreams or anything like that have been slowly guiding you towards passions or desires that you've wanted. And so it's time, because you're making these steps and you're getting this chance to do things again, or to engage with your emotions from the past in a different way, to heal them, to claim victory. And then to get to a space of Thurisas, which is a very powerful masculine energy, that electricity, the space of electric movement, of catharsis, where it is about taking time for yourself to move forward with your life, to move forward in ways that you never thought was possible. So this week is going to be very transformative for a lot of people. But of course, keep on track. And you're doing great. Be gentle with yourself, because again, that image of the peony is about gentleness, is about reoccurring things from the past, this kind of, but also doing it in a gentle way, right? Working through yourself and through your emotions in a way that's gentle and that allows for easy progress. It doesn't have to be painful, even though it might hurt a bit. So on the outside, we have Ansus, which I think is very important. Ansus fell, and I just felt to keep it here. Ansus is the rune of Odin, and Odin's rune represents, of course, a message from the gods, something where the archetypical energies that we deal with, right? The energies of Odin, which is intellectuality and travel and transience and mutability, and also connecting to different aspects of other archetypes you may work with. Perhaps if you're working with an archetype of love, a goddess of love, or a god of love, right? Whatever it may be, these archetypes are sending you a message through your emotions, through the synchronicities you may be experiencing in life. Again, the whispering that's coming from the trees, right? And then next to it comes Ewas. I love this rune because this is the yew tree. The yew tree is oftentimes found in cemeteries. It's a very old tree. It's also called the tree of regeneration, or the tree of that comes back to life. It's also known as the tree that holds the space between the living and the dead. It's that doorway. So again, a lot of transition, but this rune, when it's upright, and especially coming in context with Ansus, this is suggesting that you have help from people around you that will help you in this process of working through yourself. Or perhaps some of the energies that you may be feeling, or energies that you may be experiencing, is going to bring you to a space of new strength and new courage to pursue your passions, to pursue the things that you need to pursue, to heal in a way that is most beneficial to you. So, I feel to open some of these decks. Again, the feeling that I had earlier today was to bring them with me, because we'll be able to supplement some of the healing that we may need to be doing this week. Let's see what they have to say. Yes. So we have the card Discernment, just in case you guys can see that. So Discernment is a very beautiful card in my deck. And this deck that I use, again, it's called the Shamanic Healing Oracle deck. It's very nice. Discernment is very important, and I think, especially in the context of these messages that we may be receiving this week, and also a lot of the old energies that we're going to be meeting up against, that we're going to run into. Perhaps you'll run into an old lover, perhaps you'll run into an old friend, perhaps this week you may run into old situations. Again, there's a lot about the past coming up, so that you can be in a space of recognition for yourself of how much you've changed, how much you've grown. But definitely use your discernment. Be aware that your gut will tell you what is true in a given situation. And it is about trusting yourself and learning to follow that discernment. So again, I'm going to use this deck here, which is my Fountain Oracle deck. This is my personal tarot deck that I do my readings for others, and for myself. So, yeah. Yes. Cool. So let's see what they have to say. Let's see. Okay, so how I usually do my readings, especially when it comes to my cards, oftentimes they'll fall out. And I'll feel the energies and then put them in a specific way that is relevant to me and relevant to the situation at hand. So given this triumph, this movement forward, again, the image of the peony, this working through the past. In the past, the Five of Coins is suggesting that in this past month, since I haven't done these readings, so I would say from the end of December up until now, there's been a feeling of the Five of Coins. Now, the Five of Coins is a very interesting card because sometimes it does suggest despondency. It does suggest a consciousness and a feeling of lack, or lack consciousness, or what some people in the New Age community have considered poverty consciousness. Now, for myself, I don't necessarily like to use that word too much, because the Five of Coins to me just feels like an interior space in which you may feel left out of social situations, or feel left out of your own emotions. So it's almost a feeling of being left out in the cold. So this January may have been very difficult in terms of coming up against a lot of emotions that have been difficult to work through. Again, this past energy, right? And then leading up to the Ten of Swords. Now the Ten of Swords in this situation, for me, especially given the context, represents that as January progressed, it was slowly letting all the swords, which sword is a mental suit, right? It's the suit of thought, the ways in which we perceive life around us. So the Ten of Swords is the culmination of that, is understanding that I have been putting myself through so much mental anguish and trauma, and have not realized that it is within my power, with the help of my guides, with the help of my friends, with the help of my social circles, and with my own courage to acknowledge my emotional traumas, that we can let this go, right? Again, the Three of Swords comes up afterwards. So it does suggest that there was a lot to do with being in a space where you may have found yourself in situations that have not been the best, or it may have been toxic situations, whether it was at work, whether it was in relationships or in friendships, or in situations where you may have just felt a little despondent. All of this energy feels like what has happened in January up until now, up until this reading, in which you have triumphed and have allowed yourself to have a new perspective that brings a sense of catharsis and transformation. That then comes from, I love when they jump, that then comes from this message that we have been receiving, this message, this feeling of like, there's something waiting for me in the depths of my heart. Let me look at my behaviors, let me look at what's been going on, and find that inner strength. And then of course, we have the Star, which is a beautiful card. And the Star represents, to me, having faith. Having faith in yourself and remaining optimistic about the beauties that are to come. So this week, especially going into the weekend and up until, I say, Thursday of next week, there's a lot of energy with this Imbolc energy, with the fire, the transformation, the asking for blessings, the letting go and shedding of things, and coming up against old experiences with a new mindset, with a new emotional toolbox. The utility of your emotions has improved. And that brings a lot of hope. So keep that mindset, keep that hope. Because it may be tempting to fall into the Four of Cups, which essentially is observing the things that you have around you without realizing that everything you need is right in front of you. It's this sense of, so I have this going on, I have this going on, and it may not be to my liking or to my greatest benefit or for my greatest good. And yet, I can't seem to get out of it. But all of this is saying that you have the power, the means, and the ability, especially this week, especially with the blessings of Imbolc, with welcoming fire into your life, the element of fire, that transitional element, especially with this discernment that you have discovered over the past month. Discernment for your own emotions, discernment for your own self, and discernment in terms of the relationships and the connections that you have to others, to your space, and to your environment. All of this is saying it's right in front of you. And you've done so well to get to this point. Yeah. So that's the feeling that I get. That's the reading for this week. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me on River and Rune once again. Again, happy Imbolc. I will be getting back to my weekly rune readings to help you guys and to get back into my regular practice now that my travels have quieted down just a little bit. And of course, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, subscribe below. And if you want to learn more about these things, click that notification bell because I'll be talking about runes soon enough. And also, I'll be getting a little bit more into card readings later on to supplement the rune readings. So, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope this message has helped you and has brought a sense of peace. Again, it's a very general reading, considering that I'm doing this for the greater collective. So, of course, take what resonates, and if it doesn't resonate, please leave it and find something that does. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you guys next week on River and Rune. Okay? Bye, everyone!